Assalamu alaikum. This is Rokia Samia welcoming you to the English news from Btv-Chattogram. Let's begin with the top stories. Prime Minister Tarique Rahman directs necessary steps to stop fuel smuggling and prevent oil price hike. No fuel crisis as ship carrying 30,000 tons reach Chattogram port and 3 more with LNG on the way. Jatiyo সংসদ Speaker Hafizuddin Ahmed's wife, Dilara Hafiz, passes away. President Mohammad Shahabuddin and Prime Minister Tarique Rahman express profound condolence. Middle East conflict escalates as US-Israel strike Iran's nuclear facility, followed by Tehran's threat to retaliate. And Bangladesh draws 1-1 with India in SAF Under-20 Football Championship in Maldives. Viewers, those were the top stories. Now moving on to the details. Prime Minister Tarique Rahman has directed to take necessary steps to stop fuel smuggling and take necessary steps to prevent oil price hike. The Prime Minister gave these instructions at a meeting of Government Party parliamentarians in the Government Party meeting room at the Jatiyo সংসদ Bhavan today. The meeting was informed that there is no fuel crisis in the country. The Prime Minister instructed the concerned ones to conduct a campaign against those who are trying to create an artificial oil crisis in the country by storing excess oil and smuggling it. In the meeting, Prime Minister Tarique Rahman gave the parliamentarians directions to gear up the activities of the Jatiyo সংসদ. In addition, the meeting discussed the ongoing activities of the government, the current political situation, lawmaking activities, and future action plans. At the beginning of the meeting, deep shock and sorrow were expressed over the death of Dilara Hafiz, wife of Jatiyo সংসদ Speaker Hafizuddin Ahmed, and prayers were offered for the forgiveness of the departed soul. Chief Whip Nurul Islam Moni said this at a briefing to reporters after the meeting. The Chief Whip also said that the Prime Minister had ordered to take necessary measures after investigation into the cause of the accidents occurred during the Eid journeys. The Energy and Mineral Resources Division has said that there is no shortage of fuel oil in the country. The government said that the supply situation remains normal as imports from the international market continue. Meanwhile, an oil tanker named MT Grankova carrying 30,000 tons of fuel has arrived at Chattogram port. The vessel contains 10,000 tons of diesel and 20,000 tons of jet fuel. This is the 9th oil tanker to arrive this month. Although several more ships are expected, there is some uncertainty in the schedule. Not only oil but also liquefied natural gas (LNG) is also coming to strengthen energy security. Within the next few days, 3 ships carrying approximately 2 lakh tons of LNG will arrive at Chattogram port. The Bangladesh Petroleum Corporation (BPC) said that there are currently about 2 lakh tons of diesel in stock in the country. With new consignments being added, there is no risk of a supply shortage. Although there is some pressure on the supply chain due to global instability, the government said initiatives are being taken to collect fuel from alternative sources as well. Meanwhile, as part of strict monitoring to ensure proper fuel supply, mobile courts are being conducted. Already 293 mobile courts have been conducted in 62 districts, taking action against illegal hoarding and irregularities. The government said there is currently no decision to increase fuel price. It has also urged people to refrain from hoarding in hopes of making excessive profit. In addition, to ensure the security of fuel depots, Border Guard Bangladesh BGB has been deployed in different parts of the country. The official Eid holiday ended a few days ago, but its charm has not faded yet. The tourist and entertainment centers of Chattogram were bustling with life during the weekend. People are still in their festive mood to share the joy of Eid with their loved ones. DC Park and Potinga Sea Beach in particular were packed with tourists. People flocked to tourist attractions with their families, forgetting the hustle and bustle of life and looking for a little relief. The running around of children and the selfie-taking moments of adults showed how colorful the joy after Eid was. An unearthly atmosphere was created there when the afternoon twilight colored the sky. Thousands of people try to forget the fatigue of mechanical life by enjoying the tidal waves and the cool breeze in these tourist spots. Speaker Hafizuddin Ahmed Birbikram's wife Dilara Hafiz passed away at the age of 78 at 1:29 p.m. local time at the Singapore General Hospital. Inna lillahi wa inna ilahi rajiun. At the time of her death, she left behind her husband, a son, a daughter, and grandchildren, and a host of relatives and well-wishers. The late Dilara Hafiz played an important role in the expansion of education in the country during her long career. She served as a principal of Eden Women's College and Sohrawardi College in Dhaka for various terms. In addition, the late Dilara Hafiz also served as the Director General of the Directorate of Secondary and Higher Education. Her body will be brought home tomorrow evening. The first namaz-e-janaza will be held at 11 a.m. next Monday at the South Plaza of the Jatiyo সংসদ Bhavan. After that, the next namaz-e-janaza will be held at the Central Mosque in the cantonment after Zohar prayer, and she will be buried at the Banani Military Cemetery. President Mohammad Shahabuddin has expressed deep sorrow and grief over the death of Dilara Hafiz, spouse of Speaker of the National Parliament, retired Major Hafizuddin Ahmed. In a condolence message today, the President conveyed his heartfelt sympathy to the Speaker and the bereaved family members and prayed for the eternal peace of the departed soul. The President said that the nation will remember with gratitude the outstanding contributions of Dilara Hafiz in the field of education. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Tarique Rahman has also expressed deep sorrow and grief over the death of Dilara Hafiz, spouse of Speaker retired Major Hafizuddin Ahmed Birbikram. In a condolence message today, Prime Minister Tarique Rahman said that the late Dilara Hafiz was a distinguished educationist and social worker. With her death, the nation has lost a noble educationist. Now, international news. Gulf countries and Israel have come under missile fire, and Israeli forces struck Iran as the war raged into its second month, with Washington expressing hopes for progress in talks with Tehran. Meanwhile, Israel announced fresh strikes on Tehran. Israel's military reported at least 5 rounds of Iranian missile fire within just over 5 hours. And a statement early Saturday said Israeli forces were striking Iranian terror regime targets across Tehran. Israel confirmed it had struck the Kondav heavy water complex and a uranium processing plant in Ardakan. While Trump has extended his deadline for Tehran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz or face attacks on energy assets to 6 April, Iranian media reported strikes on Friday on 3 Iranian nuclear facilities and 2 steel plants, with officials saying there was no radioactive release. Iran's Revolutionary Guards warned they would strike industrial sites across the region, having earlier issued similar warnings for U.S. military bases and hotels hosting American troops. Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi threatened retaliation for Israeli crimes in a post on X, saying the attacks contradicted Trump's extended deadline for diplomacy. Iranian strikes have shattered the Gulf's reputation for stability, hitting Dubai's airport, Bahrain's capital, and energy facilities across the region during the course of the war. Emirate authorities said debris from a successful missile interception started fires at an Abu Dhabi industrial zone, injuring 5 Indian nationals. Saudi Arabia said it had intercepted a missile and several drones, and Bahrain said a blaze caused by the Iranian aggression had been brought under control. In Israel, repeated air raid sirens sent people to shelters, including in Tel Aviv, where 1 man was killed and 2 others wounded, and in the country's north, where media reported a simultaneous attack from Iran and its Lebanese ally Hezbollah. An Iranian missile and drone attack on the Prince Sultan Air Base in Saudi Arabia wounded at least 12 American soldiers, 2 of them seriously, according to the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal, citing unidentified officials. Meanwhile, Trump reiterated his disappointment with NATO allies over their refusal to help secure the Strait of Hormuz after U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said he had won G7 support to oppose Iran's attempts to impose a toll on the key sea lane for Gulf oil and gas exports. Rubio declared that Washington expects its military campaign to prove victorious within weeks. The G7 ministers expressed the absolute necessity to permanently restore safe and toll-free freedom of navigation in the waterway and called for an immediate cessation of attacks against civilians and civilian infrastructure. On the other hand, Thailand on Saturday joined a handful of nations that have announced they were able to secure safe passage for their oil tankers through the Strait of Hormuz in an agreement with Iran. U.S. President Donald Trump's special envoy Steve Witkoff said Friday that he believes Iran would hold talks with Washington this week. Washington expected Tehran to respond to a 15-point U.S. peace plan, he told a business forum in Miami. Meanwhile, Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif has held a 1-hour call with Iran's President Masoud Pezeshkian. The call comes a day ahead of a meeting in Islamabad involving foreign ministers from Turkey, Egypt, Saudi Arabia and Pakistan, where de-escalation efforts are expected to be discussed. During the call, Iran's President Masoud Pezeshkian said trust is essential to facilitate talks and mediation on the Middle East conflict. Pakistan's Prime Minister's office said Pezeshkian praised Pakistan's diplomatic efforts. Shehbaz Sharif briefed Masoud Pezeshkian on contacts with the United States and Gulf states, as both leaders discussed ongoing hostilities and ways to end the conflict. Israel has carried out dawn air strikes on several towns in southern Lebanon on Saturday, while Hezbollah announced attacks on Israeli forces. Lebanon's state-run national news agency reported a series of strikes at dawn on the town of Masdal-Sem and successive strikes on the towns of Kafra, Haniyeh, Tulin and Adlon. It added that several Israeli strikes also targeted the city of Nabatiyeh, hitting residential and commercial buildings and a fuel station. At the same time, the agency reported strikes on border towns, particularly Taibe, along with an attempt by enemy forces to advance toward the Litani area. The Israeli army said they killed 2 senior members of Hezbollah's communication unit on Friday in an attack in Lebanon's capital Beirut. In a statement on Telegram, the Israeli army also said its air and naval forces attacked overnight various areas in southern Lebanon. They struck weapons depots, launchers, and military structures, it added. Lebanon's civil defense officials said an Israeli airstrike has killed 4 people and wounded 9 others in the municipality of Al-Haniyeh. Authorities said the attack targeted Syrian farmers working in the area. On the other hand, Hezbollah said in a series of statements that it had targeted gatherings of Israeli forces in Debel, a predominantly Christian border town with some remaining residents despite the war. The group said it struck a Markava tank with an attack drone in Debel. Hezbollah also announced it targeted the Israeli military's Northern Command headquarters, north of the city of Safed in northern Israel, with a volley of rockets. Nepal's former Prime Minister K.P. Sharma Oli and ex-Home Minister Ramesh Lekhak were arrested on Saturday morning over their alleged involvement in a deadly crackdown on protesters in September. Police said they were arrested this morning and the process will move forward according to the law. The detentions come a day after Prime Minister Balendra Shah and his cabinet were sworn in after the first election since the 2025 uprising that toppled Oli's government. At least 77 people were killed in the anti-corruption youth uprising on 8th and 9th September, which began over a brief social media ban but tapped into long-standing fury over economic hardship. At least 19 young people were killed in a crackdown on the first day of protests. The unrest spread nationwide the following day as parliament and government offices were set ablaze, resulting in the government's collapse. A Nepal government-backed report into the deadly uprising has recommended the prosecution of 74-year-old Oli and other officials. Now, sports news. Football. Bangladesh played 1-1 goal draw with India in their ultimate Group B match of the SAF Under-20 Championship held at National Football Stadium in the Maldives today. With this outcome, India emerged group top by virtue of better goal difference, while Bangladesh finished group runners-up. The early breakthrough came for India in the 16th minute following a well-worked corner routine. Unmarked Vishal Yadav sent the ball home with a strong header near the far post, giving no chance to custodian Mahin under the bar. Bangladesh fought back in the match in the 10th minute of added time. Sullivan provided a brilliant cross from the left and substitute Abdul Riyad Fahim connected sweetly with powerful volleyball that crashed at the back of the net.